Hey, everybody, and welcome to podcast number 6. So, when I first started sharing my experiences about my dreams online, I had two purposes for doing that. The first one was because I wanted to find a community in which I could share my dreams with and that we could relate to each other. It's very hard to tell people about something that you have experienced and they cannot relate to it. So that was the first one. And the second one was because I was able to overcome fear through my dreams. And it was a real world application of a lesson that I learned. And I wanted to be able to help people who may be going through something similar and they may not know where to turn. So if they were able to come to me or watch my videos, they could learn from it and apply it to their own life. I think about dreams similar to a person who goes through an alien abduction. If you were a normal person, if you were sane, there's nothing different about you, nothing wrong or strange about you. But you went through an alien abduction. That is something you cannot deny. You can't just pretend like it never happened. It did happen to you. You can't really explain how it did, and it's going to affect you for the rest of your life. Now, I haven't had an alien abduction, but I've had tons of dreams that I cannot necessarily explain that well, but I've experienced them. So I can't deny them. And so this is what has led me to opening up my mind and becoming more open to these paranormal occurrences. I'm not closed minded for them. You know, when people talk about things like ghosts or strange things that they've seen or, aliens, because I've had certain experiences, not necessarily like an alien experience or even ghosts, I haven't, but I'm more open to it. I'm open to talking about it, listening to it, and not fully rejecting it when somebody brings it up. Because it may be an experience that they went through and it's very real to them. It has a lot of meaning to them. So, with me, everything I've ever experienced that has been paranormal has been through my sleep. And there's probably a lot of reasons why this would happen. Different parts of your brain are activated in sleep, and you are seeing things, right? But it's not from your eyes, which is crazy. It's almost like you have a third vision. And I'm saying third, like the third eye. I don't know if you look into that or study that at all, but there's an actual eye within your mind, in your brain, and it's activated when you're asleep. Pretty crazy, right? And that might be why you're seeing things like as if they were inside your head. So you see this dream world, but it may not be exactly what's outside around you, but it may be a more fantastical version of that. So let me explain what a nightmare is and how you have nightmares. I see nightmares as two different things. The first one is a subconscious thought that arises in your dreams. So this happens a lot more with younger people because you are very overstimulated throughout the day, and a subconscious thought is more of something that you didn't focus on while it was happening, but it may appear when you're dreaming. And it's your mind trying to understand like what all this is trying to teach you, all the stimulation that you've been receiving. But it can also be like a problem that you faced and you say, I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to put it to the side. It may be a thought that came to your mind and you didn't work through that thought. And so now it comes up and appears in your dream. Or the second thing is it may be a traumatic experience that you have had and you relive that traumatic experience through a nightmare. it's very hard for us to go through these things because you're going to have to face it. And when you face it, it's important how you resolve the problem. If you don't resolve the problem, be aware that it will show up later, whether or not it's a reoccurring dream or if it comes to you in a different way, you still have to work through the problem. The problem persists in your mind. And just because it may not be tangible doesn't mean that it's not going to affect you in a very real way. Think about it this way. If you had anxiety towards somebody and you never fixed the problem. I had an experience where I was dating a girl and her best friend didn't like the fact that I still spoke with my ex, but I didn't speak with her that often, but it was happening. And the best friend of the girlfriend that I currently had over time got more and more like, how could I say this? She wasn't like madder, but she wasn't supportive of me dating her best friend. And there was a negative energy between us. And for years, I didn't fix this. And actually, I had already split up between, me and her best friend. And so we still had this negative energy. And any time that we would see each other in the future, because we had mutual friends, because of this negative energy, I had an anxiety towards it. So it's not tangible, right? But it still affects you. And I had to go and humble myself and bring up the problem and say, hey, look, I'm sorry for not facing this for a very long time. I don't want this to continue in a negative way. I want to respect you. I want to be open with you. And, whether or not we're close, I want positive energy between us. And it was very simple. She was like, yeah, I feel the same way. I don't know why I was upset for so long. And it wasn't that she was focusing on being upset with me. It was just maybe she was upset and she put it to the side, and I always felt that negative energy. And so that person in a dream, that person may appear to me and I may have anxiety, and I have to learn how to overcome that anxiety by doing something about it, resolving the problem. Or in real life, I may have the anxiety of seeing her, and so I would always do my best not to be where she is. So just because these things are not tangible doesn't mean they don't affect us. They do. And this is why it's important for us to overcome these things and to learn how to resolve problems, because it just makes life so much easier. Like, you don't need to have all this extra baggage that you carry. Life can be something enjoyable. It can be something fun. It can be something that you learn a lot from, but it starts from within. It starts from inside. One of the things that people may go through when it comes to sleep is sleep paralysis. Now, this may be a hard experience for people, especially the first time they go through it. Sleep paralysis, let me explain how it happens. So, your mind and your body can actually fall asleep at two different times. You may see this if you were extremely worried about something, okay? If you were actively awake and then you decide to fall asleep, or if you decide to fall asleep while everyone else is awake. So your mind continues to race. It continues to be active, but your body is relaxing. And as your body relaxes, it's actually going to send you signals to find out, are you awake? Are you asleep? Or are you awake, or are you ready to sleep? And if your body falls asleep, it gets paralyzed. But if your mind is still awake, you may be conscious while your body is asleep. And then all of a sudden, you open up your eyes and you look around from side to side and you can see the room, but you can't move. And that's sleep paralysis. Now, whether or not your eyes are open or you're just visually being able to see the room through a different way, which, could be that third eye, there's three things that you can do in that moment. Number one, close your eyes, okay? You may not be aware of this, but in dreams, you may have your eyes open the whole time. And I'm not saying your physical eyes, but you may notice that, or you may not notice this, but you may never blink in a dream. Like you're just watching a movie the whole time, or you're acting out the movie. So if you just close your eyes, especially in a sleep paralysis mode, you can go directly into a dream. Okay? Second option is that you can wake yourself up. Now this is really hard, but it's possible. I've done it many, many times. And waking yourself up is just continuously jerking your body, whether it's your shoulders, your arms. If you're sleeping on your side, it would be like throwing your arm back over and over again. And as your mind is thinking about doing this, eventually it could happen that you physically wake up and you're able to throw your arm. Or the third option, and this is for more experienced dreamers, and it's called astral projection. And astral projection means that you come out of your body and you're literally in the same room that you fell asleep in. And it's a very different experience and thing. But, at first with astral projection, you can see it as learn how to come out of your body, like pop out. And I do that a lot. But another way you could do it, and I was explained this by a friend of mine who, I had posted online and he told me to try this out. It was really, really cool and it actually worked. Was if you want to astral project and you can't seem to pop out of your body because every time you try to pop out of your body wakes up, then learn how to sink in to the mattress. So sink in almost as though you're not going to pop out moving forward, right? Because your mind is still thinking that your body and your astral self are connected. So because you're going to try and pop forward, it may wake you up. But if you're going to sink in, your physical body is going to remain where it's at, and your astral body will actually pop out from underneath. It's pretty crazy. And then you can stand up and you can get on with this astral world, which is insane. So if you think about sleep paralysis, it's probably one of the coolest things you could go through. At first, it may be very scary because a lot of people are disoriented. They don't know what to do and they cannot move. And they may feel or see spirits within the room. But now you have three options and you could try any one of them. And you could see what works and what you like. So I think it's a good thing. I like to do it. And I can put myself in sleep paralysis. So, and I've done it many times. Now, something that I learned over the time that I was going through lucid dreaming, astral projection, and just, nightmares or vivid dreams was that people who have emotional conditions tend to have these experiences more often. What that means is if you have anxiety, depression, a past traumatic experience, because you may be completely sane, but because you go through a traumatic event in your life, it may change you to now have these intense thoughts that cause you to have emotional problems. And when you are going through that, it may cause you to have unrestless sleep. And that's why you may be having sleep paralysis, lucid dreams, vivid dreams. You may be waking up constantly in the middle of the night. So if you are completely fine and you don't have any of these emotional conditions, you might never experience these forms of sleep paralysis or lucid dreaming. But if you do have these conditions, it may be more normal to you. Um, so with overcoming fear within a dream, I like to think about it like the concept of hate. When you hate somebody, people say that it hurts you more than it hurts them because you are the one who is containing this idea of not liking somebody. And they may be continuing on with their life as if nothing had happened. But because you are constantly thinking about this, it's affecting you. So, what a person has to do is they have to resolve the problem within their mind. In a dream, especially if you were facing like a traumatic experience, you have to work through the problem. Because whether or not you did something to somebody else or somebody did something to you, they may continue on with their life as it replays in your mind. And as it replays in your mind, it is constantly going to cause you to feel anxiety, feel down, and it may stop you from doing things. So what you have to do is learn how to resolve the problem so that you can receive peace once again in your mind. You want this peace so that you can move forward. A lot of times we think about our past and we may not be living in our past, but it still affects us in the present. You, right now, let me tell you, right now are not the person you were in the past. The things that you went through, the mistakes that you made, that was you growing. But now you have become something else. You have changed, you have improved, and you should not look at it as my past is who I will always be. But my present and the future is what I would like to be. And what you are right now, what you can presently be to the people around you. You know, it is your choice how you decide to act. And these things that are affecting us from the past do not have to dictate what we are right now and who we will be for the rest of our lives. Because of the dreams that I've had and the nightmares that I've been able to overcome, I feel like I have mastered my mind in a way that no matter what I'm faced with, I can handle it. And my dreams are so intense that nothing that I've ever faced in real life has even compared to what I go through in my dreams. Now, the way that I look at things, and especially with fear and anxiety, is in real world application, it may be something that may seem very small, but it has meaning. You know, you could still use this to help you to face problems. So, you know, one of the things that I noticed about myself, and I really don't like customer service jobs, and I don't like talking on the phone, especially. I don't have a phone job, but you know, part of your responsibilities could be to use the phone. And when you're calling about something, you may have anxiety to what to say. You know, like, oh, what, am I going to say this correctly? What if I forget to say something and I'm just embarrassed? And so the way that I handle that, because I've overcome many fears, and that may be something so little, but it has meaning to me. What I do is, as I'm starting and getting nervous, I just dial the number, I put the phone to my ear, and as it's ringing, I just think in my head like, oh man, I just gotta do it. I just gotta talk. Whatever comes out of my mouth, just improv it, and it's worked many many times. And it's really helped with my confidence level. Now another one is, now I've been working at my job for quite a while now, but if you were to apply for different positions and have to go through an interview, some people may have anxiety as to whether or not they're going to receive the job. And so if you had a dream, like if you could manipulate your dreams, which I'm going to tell you right now, it's coming, okay? The technology hasn't gotten to that point yet, but it's coming. So get ready. But if you could manipulate your dreams, what you could literally do is go through a simulation within your mind. And this may have happened to you. If you are overthinking things and it's the day before the interview, you may have a dream that you're at an interview and you think that you go through it and you think that you have, answered all these questions, and you're like, oh man, are they going to call me back? Like, what's going to happen? And then you wake up the next day and it hasn't even happened. But that is where a dream could apply to real life. That application of, here is a problem, I may have an anxiety towards it, and now how am I going to handle this situation? Anxiety is such an interesting feeling to go through because it can literally stop you from doing things. So even though you want to take action, it may cause you to freeze. But what a person has to do is know that they can confidently move forward and do it. Just try it, take the steps and get to where you need to go to. And what's the worst thing that could happen? Really? That it's not going to turn out the way that you wanted it to? It really shouldn't matter. The more that you're putting in this work, the more that you're going to see in your mind that you can be confident in all things. And I know that when you look at it in a different aspect of, you are right before you started, like, it's such a big deal, such a big venture to go into. But once you're doing it, it's like, oh, this ain't that bad. I could do this. I could handle this, and I'm learning, fast, and we're able to take on the responsibility and handle it well. So I have very little fears when it comes to real life situations. And any time that I may have a fear, I now have tools in order to help me. Tools either through dreams or a tool within my mind, running the thought in my mind and walking through it. What can I do when I actually face this situation? We don't need to have fear that is going to stop us from reaching our potential, but fear can be something to trigger us to take action. I am so grateful for the experiences that I've had, and that now I can relate to people who do go through these interesting dreams and they don't really know where to turn to or who to talk to. You don't have to be able to explain everything. It's okay. Not every dream has to have meaning. That's okay too. But we can use these things and learn from them. They could be tools for us. The mind is such an interesting thing. The experiences that we have, whether it's in real life or whether it's in a dream state, you are still experiencing it. So it is still real to you, and it still affects you. So learn how to control the things that happen within your mind. You have the power. It's all up to you. And I'm pretty sure you have plenty of time to do that. So, take the time take the time for yourself. And as you master your own mind, you're going to receive peace and peace to move forward. Thanks for listening, guys.